CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating the Difference. We're going to talk about 6 bowling balls today and give you a comparison of all 6. We're going to start with that blue coral Venom. We're going to move to the conspiracy scheme. We'll check out the gem, the Bigfoot, the Defender, and last but not least, the new 300 or Columbia 300 speed bowling ball. Got my man Billy Revs with us, man. He's going to throw these bowling balls for us to kind of show us a little bit about what they do, and we'll give you a comparison of all 6 balls at once. We'll start with that blue coral Venom from Motive. Bowling on a fresh house shot here. It's Wall Street version 2. We've actually got some clutch data and specto information that we'll be showing along the way. But we'll start off with the blue coral Venom. And we'll throw 3 shots with each ball. For those that are kind of interested in Billy's specs, I will show you quickly. These are what Billy's specs roughly are here. So he's about a 300 RPM rev rate player. His ball speed 17.2. That particular shot was 19.4 boards at the laydown spot. All right, so we'll throw one more shot. And just kind of do a comparison. I think what we'll do actually is we'll just stay there. We'll just have him throw 3 shots with each ball in the same part of the lane. And that way you can get a rough idea of the performance difference between these 3 balls. Okay. So you have to see those shots are pretty close. Billy's a 230 average bowler, so definitely a good player. We'll get to see a little bit about kind of how these balls perform. So that ball now is going to be done. We'll move to that new radical conspiracy scheme. And we're just going to stay right there with all these balls and just kind of show you just the performance difference in general. It's a little wide right. Came back. But that's good too, like we're gonna be able to see just, kind of how the balls perform. That ball was wide right, it did recover. Kicked the corner out late, but it kicked it out. That's better. Yeah, interesting. So that one was closer to the other shots, and you see that ball did not recover nearly as well. So that's a little bit interesting. We'll get a fresh rack, and we will throw one more shot. Interesting to see the performance difference there. Just noticing that the balls definitely roll differently. That first shot was thrown wide right and it did recover, but that second one did not. Now that's close to where it's supposed to be. Oh, we got ourselves a little Swisher 10 there. Fair enough. Okay, so we'll move to the next ball. We will look at that gem. Now, these balls are all different manufacturers, but most of the time you're not able to get really good comparisons between the different balls. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to educate you, giving you some comparisons of different bowling balls, kind of thrown in the same part of the lane with the same player, and that'll kind of help you be able to pick what ball's best for your game. So now we're throwing the new Roto Grip Gem. She's chunky, so that should hook a lot. Just like that. She's chunky, and she hooks, as you would expect. I mean, the first 2 balls were both polished, and this ball is dull, so definitely performance difference, which is good. Like I said, he's just going to stay in that part of the lane. He's not going to move. He's just going to keep trying to repeat shots, and we'll just keep collecting shots here and let you guys see what's going on. Now, interesting note there. That was the second shot. It was in a little bit, but that ball looked pretty good right there. So I'll have to throw a third shot, see what happens. Now, what I'm really kind of interested in seeing too is, You know, he's wiping the ball off every shot, but as the bowling balls kind of get broken, this is the very first shots thrown with these balls. They sometimes can change pretty quick too. So we'll see if that was it, or just know the bowling ball rolls a lot better from that spot. All right. So you got a little performance there. Obviously that ball's the biggest hooking, right? Earlier, more rolly, more of a traction type roll, whereas the other two bowling balls would definitely fall into that continuous category. So we're gonna move to the Bigfoot, the radical Bigfoot ball now. That's what we're gonna move to next. Same thing, 3 shots, same part of lane. That's pretty good. Interesting, so that ring a 10 pin, whereas that was high with the gem. He 4-pin with the gem, but his ring 10 with the Bigfoot. So there you go. I mean, that's a pretty good comparison just right there by itself. Once again, the Bigfoot's got some polish on it. Different company, different manufacturer. So we'll do the closer version. You see I'm doing 3 versions, right? 3 variations. Kind of a full sail so you can see everything, then I kind of zoom in, then I go low one. Let's see if that comes back. It did, but it was weak. That ball definitely was a little bit lazy. It did come back to the pocket though. So we'll do one more shot with the new Radical Bigfoot. Oh, that should be good. And another ring 10 pin. All right, well, that kind of gives us a rough idea of what that ball does. We will next move to the brand new Brunswick Defender. This ball is also dull, so we'd expect to see some more hook. Could get a full rack. And we'll see what this ball does. That's just like the other ball. Rolly. So did you see the reaction difference? Now that ball was thrown pretty much like the Bigfoot, but it definitely was more rolly, meaning that ball was going in a much more end over end fashion as it went down the lane, which tells me 2 things. 1, this is a traction ball. It's not a angular ball. And 2, this is going to be a bowling ball in general that is better if you need your ball to pick up early. A lot of axis rotation. If you throw it really, really hard, because watch. So skid, and then it's starting to roll. See the rolls end over end? So that end over end roll is good, but you can't move left very far and get that ball to come back and continue, because that's not what it's meant to do. It's meant to be a roll type reaction. If you notice there, I didn't say hook either. I said skid and then I said roll, because really that's what bowling balls do. They either slide or they roll. There really isn't such a thing as skid, hook, roll, which that's going to make some people mad, but that's the truth from a physics standpoint. All right. So that's 3 shots with the new Brunswick Defender. We will now move to the Columbia 300 Speed. We will throw 3 shots with it as well. That's in a little bit. All right, that's shot number 1. We'll do shot number 2. So it's kind of rolly too. That ball's got a little more continuation than the Defender, but definitely, kind of a traction type reaction. I'm curious to see if it does turn out to be continuous as opposed to a traction ball. But it definitely, I mean, it's not as early as Defender, but it definitely is headed that direction. So we'll do one more shot with the Columbia Speed. And remember, he's wiping these off after every shot, as you should too. Yeah, it's a little more continuous than the Defender. So that gives us some more information, at least a little bit more information about these free balls, these 6 balls. Maybe there's one that will fit your bag. And briefly, really quick, I want to show you one more thing before we jump off here. These were thrown kind of in order, and you can kind of see that all the oil is off and is absorbed in by the ball. All of it's absorbed in. This one is not absorbed in as much, which is interesting because it hasn't set as long as these two have, but it's set longer than this ball, and there's still oil on this ball, which is kind of interesting. So just kind of taking a peek. The oil, there's a little bit on there, but most of that oil has been absorbed in. Like I said over here, there's a lot of oil that has not absorbed in. And on the new ball, you can see it's absorbing in pretty quickly. On the Brunswick Defender, you can see it's absorbing in. And then we just threw this ball, and the oil is already absorbed in. So there are some differences in absorption rates. We're going to shoot another video to talk about what absorption rates do and kind of how that can impact your game. But you should note that this is kind of interesting that, you know, this ball here doesn't have the absorption rate as fast as these other 2 bowling balls for sure. Anyway, now you got some more information. Pick up one of these bowling balls at bowlingforless.com. If you're a member of our CTD staff, you actually get a discount on these bowling balls. So make sure you consider joining our staff at ctdbowling.com. With that being said, on behalf of Billy Levan, I am CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating the Difference. Talk to you soon.